So if you look at those outsides, Brynner, where do you feel they're likely to go given the form that you've seen?
If you look at the incumbents, you have to think, your Caleb Clarks and your Leroy Carters will probably be definitely two people that would be there. Then you've got, I think Caleb Tangitau has to be there with his performances and the way that he's been playing. I think he's a like for Caleb in that kind of left power winger. You've got a Leroy Carter that's there. You've got probably a Leicester fits into that style. Now that's probably three left wingers. Your right hand side wingers, is Rico. I know he plays more on the left, but you've got Rico. You've got Tom Whifflau. It's hard for me to probably just pick their right winger, because there's so many left wingers that are playing really well at the moment. A Leroy Carter maybe would be on that right winger, but do you put a Will Jordan who's very good on that right wing with his skill set that he does have, and you have a Damien McKenzie or Bowden Barrett that's at fullback, whether Richard Moran comes back, and that whatever they decide with the number 10s. But yeah, it's probably the right winger. I'm struggling a little bit because you've got a Ruben Love who played there against Japan and played very well in his debut. So that's maybe the number 14 winger. It's hard for me to pick right now.
I think Caleb Tangitau's been smart. Either Jamie Joe or himself putting himself on the right wing. Because natural fit is probably left. They may be making space for Nareki because Nareki's really strong on that left edge, but he's purposely played right winger. He's looked great under the high ball. He's busy in the backfield. He has something you cannot coach, and it's explosive pace over 20 metres. It's like he's there and he's gone. I think Morby's a genuine option. I really like the right winger. Like, we've got a history of right wingers being fullbacks, and I think Morby's in that conversation. I'm a big fan of Ratamati Vuki-Netkins. I think he could be a fantastic international right winger. Again, someone with pace, someone with ability in the air. So it's options are plenty. Leroy Carter's an interesting one. I think he could potentially do both, but probably similar to Nareki, is more in that left winger, sort of explosive power winger role, and you sort of get the sense that Caleb Clarke's probably the incumbent there, but not necessarily meaning there's not opportunity. I think Tavatawa Nawai could be, if Leicester's going to play this 23 role and cover midfield and wing, Tavatawa Nawai is another one. I think he can play that explosive left wing role. And then for the right, I'm still a big fan of trying to get Ruben Love on the field. I think his maturity of his game, he's ready for international pressure. Again, good under the high ball. There's no escorts anymore. It is one of the areas that is just challenged so often. So options are plenty, but I would say probably the only lock is Will Jordan. He's somewhere.
Yeah.
Lock at fullback, in my opinion. I think he's probably the lock there at 15. And then it's, I know I go to it every year, but I think finals performances, and this is where, Tangitau's done his best. They're probably not going to play finals footy. They know what he can do. The others are trying to put their hand up to say, hey, I'm actually a better option.
If Will Jordan is fit, and judging on the form of Caleb Clarke and Caleb Tangitau, would you think that first test that could be a trio, Brynner?
Yeah, I definitely think it could. I think having Tangitau in the way that he has played, and to Jipper's point, the Highlanders have put him in that number 14 role, whether that's deliberately or not, to be able to stake his claims to be in the All Blacks. But geez, that's a hell of a back three. If you're going to select, Caleb Clarke, Caleb Tangitau, like, you're talking around getting over the advantage line and explosiveness with those two wingers, I think it'd be a great way. And I think Mike Blair did talk around when we talked around him earlier in the year, like that X factor and being able to, use the ball. Having those two, that excites me to be able to have those guys. If that ends up the way they do go, and you have a Will Jordan at fullback who complements them really nice with a different skill set around his kicking game, his speed, his explosiveness, his creativity, and his game knowledge. I think it'd be very exciting. I think if you had those two on the wing to start, for sure.
The reason I feel that could work is because we saw last year Geordie Barrett being played at the back often to cover high balls. So you got strength there. Then if you look at all of those 10 options that you've got, they're all good under the high ball, whether it's Richie Moe or Bowden Barrett or Damien McKenzie. All of them are good under the high ball. So I feel like you can make some sacrifices on the right wing and have two power wingers considering that strength if you manipulate your backfield a little bit.
Yeah, 100%. But I think Tangitau is great under the high ball. Like like Caleb Clarke's aerial ability came from sevens.
Yeah.
Tangitau's aerial ability comes from sevens. Like it's not a place they're uncomfortable because they never have escorts. You know, like it's just the way of the game. And yes, there's not box kicks as such, but if you look at the kickoffs, it's basically a box kick.
Yeah.
They kick them off, and you've got to catch it above your head like AFL style. So, if I was to pick it now, I just don't see how you leave Tangitau out of the starting 15.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just like it's that. Dave Rennie might clearly like instinct. Play on instinct, see the option, take the option, back yourself, back your skill set. He couldn't have advertised himself any better.
Yeah.
You know, like some of the tries he scored from the backfield are just ridiculous. Against quality teams too. We're not talking, you know, against Moana Pacifica with all due respect, or a Waratahs defence or a Force defence. We're talking the Blues, Crusaders, Hurricanes, destroying that defensive systems which are really strong.
And you got to pick them while they're hot, right? Like, Brenna, you got to pick a winger when he's hot, because it's not always going to last.
Yep, take them while they're hot, Ross. Yeah, I think with the life expectancy of wingers, I think, yeah, you do want to pick them while they're hot. So, yeah, I think Caleb Tangitau, the way that he has played, Caleb Clarke, I think with his skill set as well when it comes to the international game, around the high ball and with what is coming, you'd have to think he's not a lock-in, but it would be definitely in the conversation to be on that left wing. But, yeah, start them while they're hot, Ross. Start them while they're hot. So Tangitau is definitely hot right now.
Now, we've spoken a lot about the midfield and about who should be in there, whether it is Jordie Barrett or Quinn Tupaia or Lester Whainga-Nuku. I feel like people haven't been talking Billy Proctor as much as they did last year, but boy, he's looking good.
It's hard because I don't see a world where Quinn isn't starting, and I don't see a world where Jordie isn't starting. Like, I think the fact that those two are playing so well is just, you know, a sad state of affairs for Billy, but really good for obviously the All Blacks and the selectors. I think the beauty of Quinn being able to cover wing allows that 23 jersey, you know, sort of probably Billy Proctor's to take currently. But hey, look, form comes and goes, and I think where Dave will be looking most is come finals footy. If you look at, I suppose, the Hurricanes over the last few years, you know, even when the Blues won it that year, they were actually leading the comp a hell of a lot, but then stumbled come finals time. So, and I suppose if you compare it, they're probably 1 from 2 in that situation. Obviously beating the Crusaders is sort of that sort of intensity, but fell short against the Chiefs. So I think home ground advantage is really crucial for the Hurricanes and for individuals to push for those positions. I still would say it's up in the air. You know, like I definitely think it's a 3-horse race. But you've also got, you know, Anton, you know, Leonard Brown, who will be coming back, and you've got Rieko Ioane, who I'm not sure is in the conversation as much anymore because he's playing so much at wing and doing such a good job with Leinster, who are now in obviously the European Cup final. So you feel it's those three in the 23, and how they mix and match them a little bit, we'll find out.
And with the Highlanders not going quite as well, Tavanawa is part of the conversation, probably has faded away, Brenna. You know, it probably doesn't look like he's up with those other guys right now.
I think if you do look at how the Highlanders have been playing, they're probably not getting the results. Jimmy's still probably one of the best players in their team, and giving them, I guess, all the kind of things that